Yes.
Yeah. So
but I wanted to set the record straight for him.
Yes, let's proceed on the same trajectory. Allow me now to ask him the question.
Okay.
Two fundamental questions, Honorable Koech. Yes, you talked about what happened during the Kenyatta regime. Why did the president, when he assumed office a year later, make statements that equally bordered on violations of human rights?
He's wrong. I really want to know which statement you're referring to that the president made. It is. You see, we have a function of
you have already prophesied.
Kenya has a robust democracy. Yeah. Kenya, you can do anything. You can to sometimes an extent where I feel it is bordering on unconstitutionalism.
Yeah.
In our own interpretation of the law and how people communicate, sometimes it borders on infringing on the rights of other people.
Okay, fine, I get your point.
Look for instance.
But how then does it work in a functional democracy like ours when the head of state says that was in relation to the re-engineering of the sugar factories in Western Kenya or the sugar belt, when he said, and so consistently, I will send them to jail, arrest, send them to jail, or send them to heaven. He has no arrest powers. He has no prosecutorial powers, and certainly we are all mortal and we will die. It's a natural affair. Why did he make these statements? Is it acceptable in a democracy?
If I recollect, he said, Mambo de Matata. Okay? And I don't know if he meant that he was going to kill anyone by that statement.
He cannot, can he?
Even when you're on earth, you still can go to heaven. It doesn't mean...
That's a natural process.
Yeah, heaven is not a place that you are delivered. And
me and you know
it's a belief of where we will want to go, but no one knows heaven. Okay?
Me and you believe that at some point we will die.
No, but you're the same person who was saying now, and onyonka has been saying, let's leave the young people who are using AI or any other means of communicate because they're young people, and I believe it. But sometimes, how do you feel in a situation where, for instance, you find someone having a president in their Twitter in a coffin, for instance? Is it something that as a country we will want to, have? Isn't it a moral issue? Isn't it a problem? Isn't it painful? How today do you wake up and probably see your child in a coffin, and yet they're alive? Is it something that is not painful, that it warrants that as a country we must summon our thoughts and see if as a society that is what we want? It is reflective of the people that we have.
Okay, you have gone off to a lovely diversion. Again, I'll come to Honorable Koech.
I'm just telling you what our society
is. Do you think the president has the powers to arrest?
He doesn't. Even to instruct the police.
Okay. Do you think
Nelson Harvey knows very well that the president cannot even direct the National Police Service.
And do you think he has
the powers to prosecute? Because it is not allowed. He cannot prosecute.
Why then do you think he makes that in a constitutional democracy like ours?
I think people just overthought it. The president was simply expressing something that probably, and it worked somehow. Let me tell you, when you're playing power, sometimes you do not necessarily have to stick to the script. Sometimes you make statements that will scare people. Let me tell you even how when I run in my constituency, it does not necessarily mean that I'm extremely popular. But if you go to a public rally, and I'm teaching this to Nelson Harvey, probably that he's going to have a shot on his member of parliament of Westlands,
President of the Republic of
that next time you go into a public rally, you scare people. You say this thing is taken. Even if this section, if this small section don't vote for me, I am taking it. So, that is now confidence.
I say the presidency is taken.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ayub.
That's a good template.
Ayub, I want to say, thank you, my brothers Nelsons. Thank you. I actually want to mention to my highly respected brother of mine, Nelson Koech. Nelson, the things we say on these TV stations and in public rallies have nothing to do with TikTok. I've heard you, when you try and criticize people like me, when we were being jailed and abducted during the last regime, but it was your regime.
Absolutely.
You were in Jubilee. Same Jubilee people were killing each other. Now they wanted me to now come in and begin to sort out how they are killing each other, me as a member of parliament from Kisii. I did not understand that this thing has always existed and it's been systemic. All right? I can tell you, Ayub, that my brother Nelson Harvey, I have been here discussing about why is our country constantly looking as if it is deliberately being broken down by certain individuals. And of course, Nelson will jump and say, you are now accusing the president. No. Some of the people who are doing the things that are being done, the president may not know. And we've constantly said, Eddie, you've been with me. How many times have we said, we are not anti-government? I am not against the broad-based government, but I don't want Joho and Wandai and John Badi to start lecturing Kenyans as if this country is their shop where they're selling potatoes and oranges, and without them, those people can't get those things. We had the good manners. We had the good behavior, where we don't tribalize development, where we don't tribalize our communities. I mean, there are certain things which are happening, and you are like, why would somebody make a decision like that? So what we are saying, my brother Koech, is this. We want to have good manners. We want to have a country where I criticize you. You see how we are sitting here, and you are telling me, and I'm listening. I may not argue, I may argue against you the way you're arguing, but imagine whatever you are saying is getting into my head. Because I'm an averagely normal person. When I listen to Nelson Harvey, 90 or 80 or 40% of the things he'll say, they make sense. What he doesn't make sense with, I'll leave it alone. That's how we've been operating at the Senate with Kina Eddie. Not all of us know everything that is happening. We consult. What we are saying, how do you save this country with its myriad problems? And some of us are saying, please, get whoever that matters, whether it is Jacob Raila, whether it is President William Ruto, whether it is Kina Musali and Wetanda. Can these people get up and realize they are there, wazes who are left in the room? That this country is bigger than all of us, and this country can actually be saved if people took it a little bit more seriously. And what some of us are saying, Ayub, we are actually playing with our country. I mean, look at, go to the paper and count the stories you see. I mean, my brother is saying that if somebody walks into the airport, he'll think all of us who are on TV are crazy. No, we are not. I mean, the headline is about kids who are abducted. Then you come and look how the parents are struggling with the books.
The papers.
No, I'm saying, but all of them are referring the same.
Not an authority.
Then, no. It's public opinion.
Can we chime in?
Yes, you can.
Because I think.
Allow me, a senator, to make up.
I was listening very hard. You know, I was trying to listen as much as possible, and again, I like going back to the concept of a new year, new resolutions, new way. We are starting a new year with bad manners of last year, and that is not how our country should go. That means that our country is in the wrong direction. And I was very deliberate with some of my questions to my colleagues here. You know, I asked a very simple question of why was it that during the most atrocious moments...
I was depressed.
I'm coming to that. And I listened to your answer. I'm going to reflect on it. I'm not using it against you. I'm just giving a concept that we can all embrace as leaders. It's just an opinion that I've said that I think the country is going on the wrong direction on three accounts, my brother Ayub. Number one, on the basis of fighting for human rights, it cannot be an issue of convenience. It cannot be an issue of politics. I insist on that it cannot be a political convenient issue where there's time that you can be silent and there's time that you can be louder than any other person. I don't believe that cheerleaders of yesterday on human rights atrocities can be the heroes of today on the same atrocities, unless the functionality must be that they have apologized for being cheerleaders of previous mistakes. Because that's the only way you become to the altar of fighting for human rights. It's just like when you go to church or you go to a mosque, there is a basic tradition that makes you a Muslim. There's a basic tradition that makes you a Christian. You must be baptized if you're a Christian. You must read the Fatiha when you are a Muslim. If you are a cheerleader of human rights atrocities in the past, you cannot be a hero of today without that baptism into that theater. Because you cannot tell us that you today you want to be a hero of abductors, that because you lost an election, when Raila Amolo Odinga has lost an election every year in, year out, and still stands and fights for violation of human rights. A number of people have lost elections. So many people, even the loss that we had in 2002 of the presidential election was a big one. But we still stood very strong and fought for that human rights violation. So that's number one. Our country cannot have cheerleaders of atrocities now rising on the theater of heroism and heroic acts. That is politics. Number two, Ayub, elections in our country must have a meaning. And I've been listening the way Onyonka and Koech have been battling each other, who was in Jubilee, who was in that. The other time we were with you Ayub, with Dr. Ekuro Aukot. And I told him a statement which I still stand with today. Elections must have a meaning in our country. You cannot make a decision in the ballot today, and then, after making that decision, then you go to the kitchen and expect a different result. I have said particularly that I do not have responsibility on this government, because I did not elect this government. But because I did not elect it, all the mistakes that Avi did by supporting Ruto in the past, or any other people who supported Ruto to come here, cannot be my responsibility now to correct. My responsibility I'm coming to that. As a citizen, my responsibility is to work as a senator, which have been given a very, very noble opportunity by the people of Migori, and I thank them all the time. And also, being able to call out what is going on wrong in this government and assist where I can to the level best possible by passing good laws, by advising on right things, both for the president and his teams, where they can be able to do better and continuing going well. And that goes to my last point, which is about that must be translated in terms of resource gaps in some communities. Because some communities are more equal than others in this country. And resources must be shared in a way that there are no people who are more Kenyan than others.
Absolutely.
And this is something that the president must work very hard on in the next 2-3 years. Because I've seen comments that people use this theater of abductions to now rally their communities behind them. It's serious. They're rallying their communities behind them on the theater of abductions. And that's why I was calling them cheerleaders of bad manners in the past, and now want to be heroes. And they're running their communities. I sit in Finance and Budget Committee in the Senate.
Is he talking about?
Do you know that the biggest pending bills in this country, the biggest pending bills, especially in infrastructure, are 70% going towards finishing projects in one region in this country? We must sit and reflect as a country that we do not play in the theater of politics on young people who have been abducted and use us as